David Copperfield by Charles Dickens relates the story of a young boy's growth and development into maturity. It is written from the point of view of the mature adult who recounts his own obstacles and the obstacles of those around him and how it all shaped his life and his beliefs. The story starts with the birth and childhood of David Copperfield at his home, Blunderstone Rockery. As a young boy, he lives happily with his mother and his nurse Pogoti. He was born 6 months after the death of his father and under circumstances which one of the nurses claimed would cause him to lead an unlucky life. He is raised by his mother Clara and his nurse Pogoti, who gave him a happy childhood. During David's early childhood, his mother marries the violent Mr. Murdstone, who brings his strict sister, Miss Murdstone, into the house. They treat David cruelly, and David bites Mr. Murdstone's hand. During one biting, he sent David away to school. Pogoti takes David to visit her family in Yarmouth, where David meets his father, Mr. Pogoti, and his two adopted children, Ham and little Emily. Mr. Pogoti's family lives in a boat turned upside down, a space they share with Mrs. Gumitage, the widowed wife of Mr. Pogoti's father. After this visit, David attends school at Salem House, which is run by a man named Mr. Grackle. David befriends and idealizes an egotistical young man named James Streetford. David also befriends Tommy Traddle, an unfortunate fat young boy who is beaten more than the others. David's mother dies and he returns home, where the Murdstones neglect him. He works at Mr. Murdstone's wine bottling business and moves in with Mr. McCover, who mismanages his fiancées. When Mr. McCover leaves London to escape his creditors, David decides to search for his father's sister, Miss Betsy Trotwood, his only living relative. He walks a long distance to Miss Betsy's home and she takes him in on the advice of her mentally unstable friend Mr. Dick. Miss Bestie, Miss Bestie sends David to a school run by a man named Dr. Strong. David moves in with Mr. Wickfield and his daughter Agnes. While he attends school, Agnes and David become best friends. Among Wickfield's boarders is Uriah Heep, a snake-like young man who often involves himself in matters that are none of his business. David graduates and goes to Yarmouth to visit Pogoti, who is now married to Mr. Barricks, the carrier. David reflects on what profession he should pursue. On his way to Yarmouth, David encounters James Steadforth and they take a detour to visit Steadforth's mother. They arrive in the Yarmouth where Steadforth and the Pogotis become fond of one another. When they return from Yarmouth, Miss Bestie pursued David to pursue a career as a proctor, a kind of lawyer. David apprentices himself at the London firm of Spenlow and Jenkins and takes up lodgings with a woman named Mrs. Cube. Mr. Spenlow invites David meets Spenlow's daughter Dora and quickly falls in love with her. In London, David is reunited with Tommy Traddle and Mr. McAvoy. What reaches David through Streetport that Mr. Barricks is terminally ill. David journey to Yarmouth to visit Pogoti in her home hour of need. Little Emily and Ham, now engaged, are to be married upon Mr. Barrick's death. David, however, finds little Emily upset over her impending marriage. When Mr. Barrick dies, little Emily runs off the with Streetport, who she believes will make her a lady. Mr. Pody is devastated but hopes to find little Emily and bring her home. Miss Westry visits London to inform David that her financial security has been ruined because Mr. Wickfield has joined into a partnership with Uriah David, who has become increasingly infatuated with Dora, vows to work as hard as he can to make their life together possible. Mr. Spenlow, however, forbids Dora from marrying David. Mr. Spenlow dies in a carriage accident that night, and Dora goes to live with her two aunts. Meanwhile, Uriah informs Dr. Strong that he suspects Dr. Strong's wife Annie of having an affair with her young cousins Jack Melton. Dora and David marry, and Dora proves a terribly housewife incompetent in her course. David loves her anyway, and he is generally happy. Mr. Dick facilitated a reconciliation between Dr. Strong and Annie, who was not, in fact, cheating on her husband. Miss Dartrell, Mrs. Stithforth's ward summons David and informs him that Stithforth has left little Emily. Miss Dartrell adds that Stithforth's servant Little More has proposed to her and that little Emily has run away. David and Mr. Pogoti enlist the help of little Emily's childhood friend Martha, who locates little Emily and bring her Mr. Pogoti to her. Little Emily and Mr. Pogoti decide to move to Australia and do the makeovers who first saved the day for Agnes and Miss Bestie by exposing Uriah Heep's fraud against Mr. Wickfield. A powerful storm hits Yarmouth and kills Ham while he attempts to rescue a shipwrecked sailor. The sailor turns out to be Streetport. Meanwhile, Dora falls ill and dies. David leaves the country to travel abroad. His love for Agnes grows when David returns. He and Agnes, who has long harbored a secret love for him, get married. David pursues his writing career with increasingly commercial success. Not long after he returns to London, the two get married and live happily with their three children as well as Miss Bestie, Pogoti, and Mr. Dick.